In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics, and we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet, and we ain't gonna be scared, and we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is Blood Politics.
All right, what's up, guys? What's happening? What do you say? We hop right into it. You know what? I was going to come on here, and I was just going to be sleeping to begin with, right? I was just going to be like passed out in the chair because it seems to work. You seem to get ahead in life if you just can't keep your eyes open, but I figure I might as well give you the show that you came to see. So I'll keep my eyes open for this one. I promise I'll stay awake, unlike the commander in sleep there in the Oval Office. But, you know, filter in. Welcome in. My name's Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I really appreciate you for joining me here today. Thank you to the chat. Thank you to the mods. Huge salute to the mods on all platforms. And again, thank you to all the chatters on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Substack, wherever you guys watch. Please make sure you hit that thumbs up, the like, subscribe to the channel, follow the channel, whatever it says to do on that platform. I would be very appreciative if you could do that. But it is the 5th of June, 2026. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Hopefully the sun's out where you are. It's a muggy 86 degrees here in the southern Boston area. So like I said, hopefully you guys are enjoying your day. If you got a day off, if you just finished work, if you're in the middle of work, my apologies. But anyway, big salute to you guys. What do you say we bring in the chat? You guys deserve the screen time now and again, right? You guys make this chat go. How do I bring you? Oh, there you go. There you go. Let me bring you on. There you go. There you go. What's up, Mr. Foss? I see you over there on Twitch. What's happening, brother? What's up, Vasantha? What's up, No Money GT Burke? What's going on, brother? How are you? What's going on, Gamer Roxanne? What's going on? What's happening, Alvin? What's going on, guys? Yeah, hit that like button on the way, and I appreciate you. What's going on, Dame Dog? What's up, Jamie? I appreciate you. Yeah, I know. Not my best. Not my best. But what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Lots of things to talk about today. Seems to be a very productive day, if not last 48 hours for the Ukrainians. The House passed a Ukraine aid package for, I believe, the first time in what got to be about 2 years at this point, right? So that's something we'll be discussing. Obviously, America's commander in sleep is at it again. Just oh boy. And we'll be playing, of course, Marco Rubio's statement in front of Congress when he was talking to Ted Lieu and just being like, you know what? I've never seen him fall asleep. I've never seen him close his eyes for more than 2 seconds. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Well, guess what? Happens more and more every single time now. So we got that. We got Jen and Pumps, I think, talking about Donald Trump's cat naps that he's been taking. So I'm sure they rip into him pretty good. We got clips from Greg Kelly, Benny Johnson. Putin responded to Volodymyr Zelensky's letter, so we'll be looking into that. And not only that, but Hungary has okayed $8 billion in arms shipment to Ukraine. Another great thing. And then, obviously, we'll be talking about some frontline updates, some ships being hit in the Sea of Azov, and anything that pertains to that situation. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys for coming in. Thank you so much. Hit that like button on the way in. What's up, Wes? What's up, Quiet Storm? What's up, Olga? Appreciate you guys. What's up, Dyslexic? How are you? Hi, Sabrina. Good to see you. Hi, Jackie. What's happening? Hi, Sean. Oh, what's going on? All right, let's start off where we've been starting off for the last few shows, and where we're going to be starting off, however many shows to come that it takes. I want to just continue to say thank you guys for your show of appreciation, your donations, your sharing this out. You're just making this possible to begin with, because we have surpassed 5,000 euros. 5,000 euros has been surpassed in our Summer of Drones campaign with the with Help 99, the NAFO boys over at 69 Sniffer Brigade, to help get the 3rd operational battalion in artillery platoon their NAFO 3.0 truck. So, like I said, I think that's about $5,800, just under $5,900 if my conversion is correct to dollars. So thank you guys so much. Again, the goal is 20,500 euro. We are 24% of the way there with just 47 donations. And again, it's been less than a week. So like I said, big shout out to you guys. Big thank you to you guys for again, making this possible, whether it's just coming here, watching the show, liking the stream, sharing it out so more people can watch. That way the subscriber base can go up and more people can be like, you know what, let's work with that channel because there may be some benefit in it. And obviously he's passionate. His chat is passionate. The community is passionate. So again, I just want to say a big thank you. Let's keep pushing. Let's see if there's anybody else on the list on the wall here. Thank you so much to MJ for your contribution. Thank you so much to Hugo. Shout out to Dame again. Shout out to Moms again. Rocks. I know Nance. Thank you so much, Nicole, Christina, Yakov has been really nice. Berja, all you guys, everybody. And I know, like I said, not everybody puts their name up on the wall. So anybody that's been, instrumental in any way, sharing it out, letting people know about it, telling people anything you've done to get it to this point. Thank you. Thank you. And again, let's keep pushing. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's see if we can get to 6 sometime soon. And obviously, hopefully we get them whales coming in at some point that really want to make a difference and have the deep pockets to do so. Because like I said, I'm very understanding of the fact that, we're a very small fish in a very large sea. So the more that you guys can share this out to the community at large, the better off we're going to be. So very much appreciated. But let's dive into a little bit of some more good news here for Ukraine, if I can, because like I said, this is from United 24. The U.S. House passes new aid package for Ukraine. The bill secured 226 votes to provide expanded assistance to Ukraine and impose additional sanctions on Russia. It must now pass the Senate. And as it says here, you can see Polymarket says, and House passes the Ukraine aid bill authorizing up to $9 billion for Kyiv, with 18 Republicans joining Democrats. Like I said, you can see kind of widely reported U.S. House. And then Jamie Raskin says, for the first time since 2024. So like I said, it's been a long time. The House passes bipartisan legislation to send billions of dollars in new security assistance to help our democratic ally Ukraine fight against Putin's bloody illegal war and imperial aggression. Let's stand strong for democracy and freedom against the oligarchs and authoritarians. And I support that wholeheartedly. Reported also here, NBC News, the House passed bipartisan legislation that would provide new aid to Ukraine and impose sanctions on Russia, largely clashing with the Trump administration's approach to war. So you can be assured that Donald Trump not very happy wherever he may be sleeping at this point in time, that again 18 Republicans decided to kind of join the enemy, as it were, join the dark side and vote with Democrats to see this happen. So again, that's good. And we have some more good news along the lines of arms funding and packages going to Ukraine at the end of the show, which we'll discuss from Hungary. But I just want to, recognize and make sure everybody was aware that this was taking place. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see what happens. But good to see that the House at least passed this through their chambers as well. So any legislation, again, the first time in 2 years where we've been saying, people on the internet, Jake Bro, Preston Stewart, Anna from Ukraine, Aturehi, you name it. There's a ton of them on there, have been responsible over the last 2 years for much more help and assistance than anything that the United States, an ally of that country at war, has been responsible for. And again, we talked about the $400 million that Pete Hegseth was questioned on, that was released, supposed to be released, but was just kind of being sat on by the Pentagon. You know what I mean? So again, we'll see what happens with that as well. But, good signs to see that the ball is moving through at least the House, right? So we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, this is, like I said, there'll be more on what was coming from Hungary as well later on in the show, but we got to touch on this. This is just, it's getting more and more embarrassing every time it happens. I don't know how people now, even the reporters in the room, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm starting to question if the reporters have their eyes open at any point during these Oval Office meetings. Do they not see this? Right? Do they not at the time, like afterwards, when they finally wake the fucking guy up to ask him questions, do they not ask him, hey, were you just sleeping? Like in these very important, critical, world-changing fucking meetings. Not that, anything he does in the Oval Office and a lot of these things is world-changing, but you know what I'm saying. The guy that's supposed to have the most important job in the world, with the most important fucking situations around the world, and he's sitting there fucking stone cold sleeping. Like, no reporter's going to ask him that. Like, to hop right into world affairs after they fucking wake him up to ask him questions is wild to me. So again, I'm starting to question if the reporters in the room have their fucking eyes open, or if are they pumping sleeping gas into the chambers here? Like, what's going on? Is the Oval Office just being fucking constantly filled with some gas that makes you fall asleep? I don't know. But again, let me throw this on the screen here, because this is just before we play fucking the commander in sleep, literally having his 14th nap while people are talking behind him, and he's just like, again, he's gone. I want to play this because this was a clip, and I'm using breaking points here because Twitter, the sound sucks on Twitter, and I hate when you go back in the video. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's on my side. But anyway, I'm using breaking points here, and this is just a replay of Marco Rubio, I believe, in an altercation with Ted Lieu about, Donald Trump falling asleep, and Marco Rubio basically says it doesn't happen. Never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Boss, what do you mean? The guy's fucking, not only does he not fall asleep, he's up at all hours of the night. He's calling me at 2, 3. It sucks actually, but he doesn't sleep. So I'll play this just before we go into, the actual evidence, the most recent evidence that we could find from, Donald Trump's proof of life meeting that he had, or one of the proof of life meetings that he's had. But let me throw this on again. This is just the exchange between Ted Lieu and Marco Rubio, just to kind of get a little taste of it, just before we dive into, like I said, the most recent piece of evidence.
And what American farmers grow and produce has a fair shot to be sold around the world. On issue after issue, that's been the case. You talk about foreign aid reforms. This is not our money. This is taxpayer money.
Secretary Rubio, have you been at more than one meeting where President Trump has fallen asleep?
That's false. That's false. I've never seen him fall asleep. On the contrary, the guy doesn't sleep, which is a big problem because he calls me at 2 a.m. He calls me at 5 a.m. And, I like to sleep a little bit, maybe not 12 hours, but at least 6. So he works. The other day he was at the Oval Office until 12:30 p.m. 12:30 a.m. I don't know what you're talking about.
And again, is it not dawned on them yet that this isn't the flex that they think it is? Right? I mean, chat, let me know. Is it something that you guys are desperate for a lot of the times? Like, you know what we need right now? If we're in this situation, you know what? If we had this in this situation, we'd be all set. And that thing that you were asking for was a demented, warped, decrepit 80-year-old man that hasn't been sleeping in God knows how many months. Like, is that what you'd be requesting? I'm just curious. Depending on what, life fucking, what life-changing situation you're in, right? What position of danger you might be in. Is that what you're usually calling for? Hey, can somebody send me an 80-year-old demented fucking sexual assaulter, rapist, piece of shit who hasn't slept in a couple months? Because I'm sure he's going to have all the answers. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't the flex you think it is. We don't want an old son of a bitch not sleeping either. Like, that does things to the mind, even if, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. It's like the fact that this is their argument just goes to show you how bad it really is. Like, if they're forced to be like, well, the guy just never fucking sleeps. Well, maybe that's why he's falling asleep. You know what I mean? Maybe if he doesn't sleep at night, that's why he's passed out while you're speaking. I'm just saying, maybe that's why he's making all these erratic decisions and saying things that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Typically, lack of sleep can do that to you. Fatigue is a hell of a thing. But, I digress. There's Marco Rubio. Again, in his exchange with Ted Lieu. But let's just go on to the more recent, topic, the more recent situation, because this is Trump. And again, I got a couple. We're not going to go through the whole thing. I got a couple timestamps picked out where, it's just, it's just too obvious. I don't know what else to say about it. I don't know what Republicans could possibly look at the guys at the end, right? Look at these two guys at the end, both the left and the right. Like, they have a clear shot. And there's a couple times where there's guys, and I believe it's, let me see. I think it's this guy right here next to the short, fat guy. This guy right here at one point is quite literally talking face to face to Trump when Trump's eyes are completely shut. Nobody's reacting. Nobody's saying, like, hey, you okay? Want to wake up? Like, you hearing me? Nothing like that. But there's just a few moments in this. And like I said, here's one of them. Check this out. And again, look at how quick when he passes it off to somebody else, like when the cameras are not on him, but when he's not speaking and he tosses it to somebody else to talk, look at how quickly he disengages, right? He tunes out fucking instantly. You know what I mean? Even if they are talking about him, it used to be if It used to be if they were, if they were fucking kissing Donald Trump's ass, right? If they were praising him for something, like he'd kind of, he'd stay somewhat coherent, and he'd like that they were, buttering him up a little bit and kind of licking his taint. You know what I mean? He's for that. But now it's to the point where I don't know what you got to be doing. You got to be fucking dancing naked on the fucking table in front of him in order to get his attention at this point, and not a girl. I don't think it's probably going to be one of the men standing behind him from what he's been talking about recently. But I don't know. Even at this point, you can't just, you know what I mean? You can't praise him enough to keep him awake, which is a big fucking problem again. But check it out. He kicks it over to, I think, Doug Burgum, and then immediately his eyes are, he's gone. Check this out.
So, Doug, go ahead.
Well, thank you, President Trump. With these announcements today and everything that your administration has accomplished so far since you've taken office, this administration has done more to save, protect, and expand coal in our country than any administration perhaps ever.
Clean, beautiful coal.
Clean, beautiful coal.
Now remember that too. We might not get to a few of the parts, but remember where he reprimands him and says clean, beautiful coal, because it becomes a consistent fucking part of what the other dickheads are saying, these other sycophants are saying, because from now on, after this, they all call it clean, beautiful coal, where I can guarantee you they were just going to call it coal before. But, you got to appease the dear leader. You got to appease the Fuhrer. He says it. So now they got to, he said jump, and they're just going to say how high at this point. But Doug's been talking for about maybe 7 seconds, okay? I'll give it to about the 15-second mark, like after this, before Donald Trump is just totally disassociated and literally fighting for his life to keep his eyes open. Ready? Check it out.
Absolutely, and
I'm only kidding.
That's okay. When you took office, the first thing you did was declare an energy emergency. Some people questioned that, but the prior administration under Biden
Immediate shift
had
in
gone
face,
so far down
Trump.
the path of pursuing
He gives
the
one
highly
smile.
subsidized,
Ready?
intermittent,
And I think that's about the last
weather-dependent
interaction
sources
we'll
of
get from
electricity,
him.
that our grid was at risk. You understood that, and you understood how key coal is. It's the backbone of having affordable, reliable, and secure American energy.
He's like, who's
to power
watching? They
our
watching me?
country,
Can I
power
close
our
my
electric
eyes?
grid,
Let me see if I can
power
close
our
my eyes real
competitiveness in
quick.
AI.
Let me see
and
if I can
power,
close.
all the manufacturing that's coming back. As you mentioned, with those record coal leases, this is where we take federal public land, lease it to the private sector.
Oh,
They
they're
write
open a
a
little
check
bit.
that
Oh,
comes
no,
into
they
the
closed
treasury.
again.
They create jobs, help support
Where'd he
local
go?
communities.
Oh,
So
he's
there
up.
was
He's
zero coal
Guys, he's
leases
up.
held in
Nope,
4
he's
years
closed.
under the Biden
He closed.
administration. You heard the president talk about 76.
Like, can you imagine other world leaders, right? Can you imagine like foreign dignitaries or just people in other countries watching this? Like, where you're actually like, all right, are his eyes open? Maybe they're open. I'm not sure. Is he looking like what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is the president of the United States in a cabinet meeting in the Oval Office, and you're like, I'm not sure. I don't know. He doesn't look awake at this point. And this is just at the very beginning, right? This is about, I think this is an hour and 15 long press conference, right? So this is the first less than 20 minutes of this thing. So he's just getting into that, like, oh, fuck, man. You know what I mean? There's no way I'm making it through this. I'm going to be fighting for my life. Can somebody get me some Scotch tape and maybe tape my eyelids open? Because there ain't no motherfucking way I'm going to listen to these dickheads for another hour. But watch, it gets so much worse. Check it out. He's getting that taste of like, fuck, I'm in the front of the cameras. I just want to go to sleep.
Here, we've slashed red tape. Those took years to get. Some of these projects for coal
Look at
mining
him.
we've approved in less than 1 month under the emergency.
He looks like a drunk at the bar at the end of the night where you're like, all right, that fucker ain't driving. Right? Who's taking Billy home? Who's taking Billy? He can barely keep his fucking eyes open at the bar here. Come on. Who bought him the last beer? He definitely didn't need that last beer. Who bought him the last beer? Whoever bought him the last beer is going to drive him home. I got the keys to his car right here. Who's taking him? Like, that's what you'd be looking at the bar. That's what Billy would be looking at, like. Like swaying back and forth. Like, I don't know. Maybe he's awake. I don't know. Let's get him home before he's fucking fully passed out. How about we do that?
Procedures. And we also have opened up for leasing another 13.1 million acres that people can bid on in our country on public land. This is
I'm
land
up.
that was set aside.
I'm up.
This is not national parks. It's not wilderness area. It's not our wildlife refuges. This is public land that was set aside for the benefit and use of the American people, including energy development.
Yeah, no, I'm listening. I'm listening. Let me nod my head just to make sure everybody knows I'm just resting my eyes. Just resting my eyes. But I do Berg, Dugum. I do hear you.
we got affordable, reliable energy. So using those public lands.
That right there is a man that just woke up from a nap. Those blinks, those are blinks of I just woke up from, even if it's a 3-second nap, those are the blinks of a man that just woke up from a nap. You see that? Where he's like, all right, let me refocus. Let me refocus. Hold on. Where am I? I know where I am. I know, Doug. Yep. Go ahead. Continue, Doug. Watch those blinks.
Energy development, making sure that we've got affordable, reliable energy. So using those public lands is what we're doing. And then the last thing.
Who said it? Yep, Doug. You still talking? Fuck. I thought I was out longer than that. I was going to hopefully get past your speech. But all right. So there's a couple more parts here. Let me go. And like I said, it gets worse. This is 20, 30. All you got to do is go a couple minutes. And I'm sure, like I said, there's moments in between this, but I'm not going to subject you to, all of them and have to listen to the bullshit that's going on behind them. But here he goes again.
Your highways, very, very strong, very important roads, actually, as you know, from the bridge.
So he's speaking, so eyes are open, at least at some points.
But it's going to be great. So can I ask Doug for just a couple of seconds to talk about those?
Oh, what's going on, gang? What's happening? What's up, CSL? I see you, brother. I appreciate you, Sparklers. What's going on? Sparkler Raid. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Big salute to you guys. Big salute to Hal. Make sure he knows that I am very, very appreciative, and we love and respect him over here. So thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We're just going over the cat naps of Donald Trump. We played just a few minutes ago, Marco Rubio with Ted Lieu, basically saying he's never seen Donald Trump falling asleep. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's ridiculous that you guys are saying that, but I don't know if Marco Rubio's seen this one yet. I'm not sure he's in attendance, so I'm not sure if anybody's shown him this, but might be something they might want to get in front of Marco Rubio pretty quick so he doesn't look like a dickhead next time he's questioned about it. But we just played a couple instances at the beginning of this, again, the first 20 or so minutes into like an hour and 20-minute meeting, and he's fighting for his life, guys. Doug Burgum just talked. He's fighting for his goddamn life, trying to keep those eyelids open, and again, the eyelids tend to win on that one. So we're just skipping through a few different parts here. This next one is coming up. I forget who talks, but it's irrelevant because he doesn't listen to them anyway.
Those three great projects that we're just starting?
Well, I'd say that it's important for everyone to know that, as you described, these are plans and ideas that have existed almost since the end of the Civil War. But the Macmillan Plan, which is the one that designed the National Mall as we see it today, that was in the early part of the 1900s, envisioned this connection that you would have the memorial bridge between the Lincoln Memorial and Arlington Cemetery. At the halfway point, there's a very large.
That guy is like that is somebody that just needs to be put to bed. Just get the old guy to bed, please.
Circle. It was designed to hold a monument. The arc that would go there is a fantastic complement and completion of this plan that's over.
He's there with his eyes closed. Again, sleeping, not sleeping, fighting to stay awake, not fighting to stay. Like, this is a bad look. Everybody can agree. Correct? Everybody can agree that the president of the United States should not be sitting there, eyes closed, while people talk around him. I'm just saying. I mean, can we at least agree on that, right? Are we that far apart where we can't at least agree on that much? Good. Look at these eyes. Those are not eyes of somebody that's in the moment, that knows what's going on. It's not.
120 years ago, President Trump's vision of how to build.
And it gets worse. Like I said, this is
course,
just kind of like the
President
beginnings of his fight.
President Macron from France.
Doug talks for way too long, which is another problem, right? People should know better when they're around Trump. You can't be talking for this long, which is, again, problem number one is probably the health condition of Donald Trump. Problem number two is probably the length of time that these sycophantic dickheads talk. But again, it's not my problem.
People visit the Arc de Triomphe.
Technically, I guess it is my problem, but not this specific problem. But them being in power is definitely my problem. So I'll reiterate. I mean, well, let me make that clear.
Even visit the Eiffel Tower. I mean, this would be a highlight for Americans to come. The views back from the top of the arch would be amazing. The views from this side, from West Potomac, where the National Garden of Heroes was, looking across at the arch would be amazing.
I mean, they're talking about his arch, right? Like, they're talking about his, what do you call it? The Trump. Oh, what the fuck did he call it? A Trump causeway or something like that? I think he called it. Like, they're talking about him. So it used to be enough where if you said Trump enough, if you said, oh, Donald, you're the best enough, or we're going to name this after you, like, he could stay awake. He could do, like, that would keep his attention, much like they had to do in his first term, right? Where they had to, like, make his name in big bold letters on the daily briefings. Otherwise he wouldn't read them. Like, same thing here. But he's so bad right now. His health is so bad, or his sleep schedule or whatever, all of it combined is so bad that even that right now is not enough to keep his attention.
The promenade on the backside of the Lincoln is, as President Trump described, right now there's no pedestrian access. You're on the mall, people come from around the world. They don't know that 100 yards away is the beautiful Potomac River, which was part of the...
It's just fucking incredible, right? All right, so we'll go to another one. I got, just a couple of these, like I said, and I think it's pretty apparent to everybody what the fuck's taking place, right?
For that, I'm incredibly thankful to be here in the United States.
Stressed out. Like I said, we're going progressive here. We're going in order, right? So I didn't start with the most egregious moments. We started at the beginning, so you can kind of see the transition from like, okay, we're fighting it. The blinking gets a little less and less, and next thing you know, we're sitting here like this.
States government to work for President Trump, who will stand up for what's right, bring common sense back, and reinvigorate an industry.
He looks like he just smoked 14 and a half blunts with Snoop fucking Doggy Dogg. Okay, which I'm sure Snoop, from what he's been saying lately, I don't know, maybe he'd be happy to do so. But anyway, that's a side note. But the guy looks fucking high as a goddamn kite. He looks off his goddamn rocker.
Without which we would not have the America we have today. And
even when it's almost better that he keeps his eyes closed, because when he opens his eyes, he looks more fucked up, right? At least when he's closed, it's like, oh, he's just sleeping. You know what I mean? He's tired. When he opens them, it's like, oh fuck, look at those things. What are those? What are those little fucking red Skittles you call? Look at that one. He just tried to open them. Watch this next. He barely gets the right one open. Couldn't get the left eye open. Watch this one.
We would not have the America we have today.
Next blink.
And we're going to reindustrialize America.
See that one? He wanted to open. He barely got the right one open. Couldn't get the left one open.
In the next generation of technologies, and we're going to do it in critical part because of a growing and thriving coal industry. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. 11 a.m. Tuesday. Pickles. What? It's like, what? Hello? You okay? You down there? What are you saying? Yeah, I'm awake. Burger King, cheese, McDonald's. So that's that one. Let me go. There's a couple other ones here too. A couple other ones, because that goes on. He talks for a couple seconds, and then I'll get to this one as well. Ready?
To allow
this guy's quite. Look at this guy's quite. He's quite literally talking to a guy with his eyes closed. I mean, he's got to be at an angle where he can see the eyes, right? I mean, at this person, maybe not the dickheads behind him, but even look at this guy in the corner. Look at this guy in the corner. He's like, oh, fuck me. The guy's eyes are fucking just closed, man. Jesus Christ. This is embarrassing. Somebody get this guy. I don't know. Get him in front of the TV. Wheel of Fortune's on, right? See if he can see if he can play The Price is Right or something for the rest of days. Keep him out of here. Like, what the fuck? But this guy's quite literally talking to Donald Trump. Trump's eyes are closed. Closed.
New Mexico, Wyoming, Utah, to have access to that Asian market. And let me just tell you,
he like moves around every now and again to be like, yeah, just to let you know, I'm somewhat here. I'm somewhat here. Unless that's like an involuntary reaction he's having.
One last thing about that. It's not just about clean, beautiful coal. We have companies like Peabody that are.
Everybody said clean, beautiful coal. The other idiot between them two, I don't know. I forget what's this guy's name. The tall freak. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's fucking stupid. They're all idiots anyway. But he called it clean, beautiful coal. He calls it clean, beautiful coal. The short, fat guy from West Virginia calls it clean, beautiful coal. All because Donald Trump corrected Doug Burgum. So this is how like the dickheads get in line here. But he continues. He'll continue talking to Donald Trump's closed eyelids. He doesn't
saying we believe we can get rare earth minerals and critical minerals from what we're doing. So we are advancing technology, advancing the opportunities and the security of the state, all because of your vision, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, all because of your vision. Wait, poor choice of words as the guy's fucking eyes are closed, right? All because of your vision. Yeah, my vision, pickles. It's like, Jesus, you could have picked any other words in that situation. And there's another one. There was another good shot of him sleeping, like, he was I think he passed it to somebody on this side though, if I'm not mistaken, but he's kind of like, he's on the chair, like he's just out cold. I forget what part that was at though. Like I said, I didn't want to subject you to too much of it. This is where they start their questions. Let me see. It's got to be somewhere around here. Let's see if I can find it. Wasn't when he was talking. I think it was when, what's his name? Lee Zeldin was talking, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if I can find when Lee. Yeah, here he is. Here he is. Here, I'll go to the beginning when Lee talks. Ready?
Good. And Lee Zeldin, how about saying a few words?
For so many Americans, clean, beautiful coal is their source.
Clean, beautiful coal. See? Clean, these fucking absolute degenerate dickheads. Not a fucking brain thought of their own, and they're following a guy who doesn't have a brain to begin with. Jesus Christ. But here's where Trump gets nice and comfy. Yep. Yeah, let me kick it over you, Lee. I'll be right here. You just let me know when you're done. I'll be here.
Of heat, of energy, of warmth, of a job, an economy, a community, a family. And for too long, you saw Democrats who were telling these coal miners they should learn code. And what we saw during the Biden administration at the EPA, for example, was regulation after regulation after regulation, trying to strangulate out of existence coal, to destroy it.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Enter President Trump. Declares a national energy emergency, creates a national energy dominance council, and he told us at the EPA at Trump's speed.
Unfucking real. All right, I think, yeah, no awareness whatsoever. Sarah, you're 100% right. Eric's right, saying the same thing. He says none stretches. Oh, Jesus. It's the only way you can get rid of that thing if he looks straight up. I'm surprised he doesn't just walk around like this all day, right? At some point, he's going to fake that he broke his neck and he's going to just continuously wear a neck brace so nobody has to look at the fucking nadussy. Oh, you guys fucking crack me up. But Jesus Christ. Remember, like I said, there was this. Right, in case you guys joined us late, I know you guys in the sparklers were watching Hal. So just real quick, I'm sure you remember when this took place between Ted Lieu and Marco Rubio. Just to kind of refresh everybody's memory, and just it never happens. But look at him.
This is not our money. This is taxpayer money.
Secretary Rubio, have you been at more than one meeting where President Trump has fallen asleep?
That's false. That's false. I've never seen him fall asleep. On the contrary, the guy doesn't sleep, which is a big problem because he calls me at 2 a.m. He calls me at 5 a.m.
It is a big problem. You're right. It is a big problem. Not only has he never seen him fall asleep, but it's a definite problem that an 80-year-old guy that doesn't sleep is commanding our armed forces and is in charge of, again, the country. But, they still think that's a fucking flex. They really, honestly and truly think it's a flex to say that the guy doesn't sleep. An 80-year-old demented fool who should be in a wheelchair at home, fucking handcuffed to a bed, if not in a jail cell. But again, I know that's kind of asking for too much, so I'll settle for handcuffed to this padded cell. Give him a fucking TV, give him all the cheeseburgers he wants. He can eat himself to death, and all he's got is, I don't know, what should we put on? Just Queer Eye for the Straight Guy or something like that. You know what I mean? Or just like the WB. Let's just although that's all he could watch for the rest of the time. I mean, I think that would be sufficient behind heart attack or prison. But you know what I mean? Choices are choices. But here's Jen and Pumps. I think they're saying Trump's barely hanging on as he makes stunning deathbed confession and sleeps on air. So I figured that they would have a thing or two to say about Donald Trump sleeping again in the Oval Office there. So what do you say we dive into a couple minutes of Jen and Pumps tearing Donald Trump apart if I can. So hit that like button. My name's Brian. I appreciate you guys. This is Blunt Politics, the little fucking political podcast that could. We just passed 20,000 subscribers. We're trying to get to 25K before midterms, and only with your help and your generosity can we get there. There's a Venmo up in the corner. You can sign up for a YouTube membership just underneath me. There's a patreon.com/Boston Brian. 3 great tiers on it. You can join bostonbrian.com, Blunt Politics merch site. I almost got through that without flubbing it, but here we go with Jen and Pumps.
The White House is engaging in a massive cover-up. Donald Trump is clearly half dead, has had some sort of medical emergency. He wasn't seen in public for a week. And then it looks like over the last couple of days, they wheeled him in to the Resolute desk. He puts on a show and tell presentation, delusions of grandeur, pathological lying, gay stuff again. Take a look at this video of the president of the United States who for 4 years, Sleepy Joe Biden, still says it to this day, while he himself is catching REM. Pop this up.
Of a job, economy, a community, a family. And for too long.
And
Okay,
the first thing is you'll be like, okay, you know what? When you get this view, right? And I thought the same thing. It was like, okay, all these guys, maybe they line him up in a straight line behind him so they can't see if he's falling asleep. But when you actually get the wide shot, and remember the two guys at the end that I pointed out, like they can clearly see if this guy's got his eyes open or not, if he's paying attention or not, what he's looking at, what he's not looking at. And fucking, there's no getting around it that he was just sitting there, ass out, fucking ice cold, sleeping in the middle of this whole thing. But like I said, even the guy that was speaking to him face to face with his eyes closed, like didn't react. You know what I mean? It's like they're so, I don't know, obedient, loyal, well-trained sycophants at this point. They're like, they somehow even continue to talk even when somebody's sleeping. You know, it's like, I'm just going to keep talking. At some point he'll open his eyes, I'm sure. But there we go. Sorry.
For a second, look at all these crusty white MFers standing behind him, just allowing. These are all of these Republicans that tell you about decorum. They tell you about national security. They tell you about the United States being a superpower, while they have this flea bag propped up there, literally sleeping while they're all conducting business. Imagine if Pumps was asleep right now, and I just continue. She's just, and nobody said anything about it. She's allegedly on Elon.
That's why I didn't see this much. I didn't see any of this because I wanted to watch it with you. But that's what I was gonna do to start the show. Like, what would you guys do if I just just started every show and you guys had to, I don't know, do enough like donations to make something ding to wake me up? It's just like. I tend to think that the subscriber base wouldn't continue to grow. You know what I mean? I'm sure there'd be less live viewers if I was just sitting here slobbering on myself. But I don't know. I digress.
Musk's free speech website. Pumps, they say he's in there farting as well, which is pretty easy to believe. But do you not think this is just a massive medical cover-up, Pumps?
I absolutely do, because here's the thing. It's gaslighting too. It's obvious he has a problem. He's not been seen in public for 7 days. They roll him out. This is the
best. Not only that, but to go along with what Jennifer was saying there, something that I noticed on what was her name? Miranda Devine. I think it's I forget what the name of the podcast because it's irrelevant, but Miranda Devine, that podcast, the interview that we saw a couple days ago with Donald Trump, his right eye definitely looked a little droopy. Right. So that was kind of the first thing. But there was so much bullshit that he was saying that it kind of was like, it kind of filtered into the background somehow because of the noise coming out of his mouth. He couldn't really tell anymore. But he definitely, like, I talked about how he looked very poor, right? He looked not well. He looked run down. Same thing in the other interview that he gave. I'm blanking on who he gave it with, but he just looks fucking terrible. And not only that, but he had the low voice, low energy. Remember, I was calling him low energy Jeb, the whole 9 yards. But so, to go along with what she's saying, and obviously what the speculation more broadly has been because of his absence in those few days, the multiple trips to Walter Reed, the 14 fucking dentist visits that he's needed, the 25 times that they've fucking forced him to take these cognitive tests that he continues to say he's aced. We're not really recognizing that, just the fact that he's taken them is probably not a good sign. You know what I mean? But again, it's just a lot of it goes over their heads and they think they're getting these zingers out there. They really think they're laying down the law. It's like, you really thought you got us with that one. But typically, if you're getting fed these dementia tests, they might suspect you have dementia. I'm just, I'm no doctor, but I think that's a pretty logical reasoning right there,
They got after 7 days. There is something wrong. And they're sending they're talking about Propecia because they're trying to detract from the fact that this man is not well. I don't even have to be a doctor.
Propecia, that's hair, right? That hair stuff, Propecia? That's what it is, right? I feel like I know what that is, Propecia.
To know something is horribly wrong. And again, in my head, the first thing I think is he has the nuclear codes. He started a war in Iran. He is murdering people in the open waters of international waters. It's so stunning to me that this is just a blip on the radar.
And you were just a laundry list of things. And there's so much that he's doing that we haven't
really, not only that, but while you get the wars going on, obviously people around the world are looking at what's going on in Lebanon. People around the world are looking at what's going on in the West Bank. People are looking at what's going on in Gaza. People are looking at what's going on in Ukraine. People are looking at what's going on in Africa. People are looking at what's going on in multiple places around the world. Obviously, the economic hardships placed upon the world because of the unconstitutional, illegal, and very destabilizing war that Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump enacted. But everybody's now looking at those issues, these very, very important, dangerous, complicated, diverse issues right now. And what they're looking at when they see and they look to the United States is fucking Donald Trump passed his ass out in the fucking Oval Office, right? While people just applaud him and clap to him and try to jerk him off from behind, even though the guy's fucking sleeping, right? They don't care. They'll get one in, right? Wherever they can get a rub and a tug in on Donald Trump, you believe me, best baby, they're going to be in there rubbing and tugging. Doesn't matter if he's sleeping, propped up, tied up. They don't give a shit. They like that, the kinky fucking pricks. But, you know, it's not really giving the rest of the world like a lot of reasons to trust us, respect us, or expect some sort of like, I don't know, good outcome, let's just say, not only with obviously the wars that are now going on, but with the rest of Donald Trump's presidency, unless again, Burger King and McDonald's and everything else that he eats decides to kick in and have its impact and take effect. You know what I'm saying?
Gotten to the corruption, the shakedowns of everybody, and how much the Trump crime family has enriched themselves. And his own daughter and son-in-law are basically Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine 2.0 with their new island. And so
that's starting to feel like a hideaway. I'm not going to lie. And I know that's not like some like crazy theory I'm sure everybody's talking about, but it almost seems like when Donald Trump has finally been run out of Washington, if again, his fucking tick is still ticking at that point, or, you know, when Benjamin Netanyahu finally sees the writing on the wall that his ass is grass and the fucking world is the lawnmower and he's going to be paying for his international fucking crimes, the war crimes that he and this dickhead Donald Trump's been responsible for committing, or, you know, whether it's like, I don't know, Viktor Orban, or, you know, if in fact the Russian people decide to rise up and decide to fucking rip Vladimir Putin out of that Kremlin in, I don't know, if one piece he's lucky, but probably multiple pieces at that point, you know, but maybe this is just like a getaway, an island where they were like, okay, let's take all of our billions that we've stolen. Let's take all the billions we've gotten from the Saudi fund, the crypto, all this bullshit. You take the money that you stole from all the Russians. You take all the money that you've stolen from the country that you preside over, and we'll put it all into this island with the bunkers and the tunnels. You know, it's got old Cold War stuff, so we can just utilize that in case the world decides to recognize that this is one big fucking floating target. Basically, that's all that is at that point. But it seems like this getaway, this hideaway, this like retreat for all the international dickheads that have been stealing. So, you know, just in case the public decides to rise up, and of course they'll utilize it, you know, even if they do stay in power and stay on top. But I feel like it's just like they're like, just in case, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, just in case this all goes to shit, we're going to be on this island, and hopefully there's enough, you know, security that we could buy, and we have enough distance between us and Albania and whatever the fuck, you know, and we were far enough away from the United States, all of those things. That's just my guess. I'll take the tinfoil hat off now, but let me know what you guys think in the chat.
It's a stunning news cycle, but all of those white Republicans behind him that talk about being patriots and they talk about loving America, and they sit there, and not only is it elder abuse, which, listen, out of all the elders I've ever seen in my life, that motherfucker deserves the abuse that he gets. So I'm not advocating that they not abuse him, but it is elder abuse.
I love how she has to reiterate the fact that she's not advocating for the fact that they shouldn't abuse him.
I mean, he's just sitting there completely asleep because he doesn't give a shit. And let's remember that Marco Rubio, just a few days ago, was in congressional hearings on Capitol Hill.
So it seems like we all had the same idea, right? You know, now that this happened again, let's go back and fucking ream Marco Rubio and obviously make fun of Marco Rubio for going in front of Congress and saying that it doesn't happen and that it happens again. Anyway, but now they kind of see there's no real difference between the I've Had It podcast and this podcast, right? And I kid. I'm being facetious. I'm joking, of course. But, you know, obviously great minds think alike as far as that's concerned. But I appreciate Janet Pumps going after them. This is, like I said, about a 16-minute segment where they're just shitting on him the whole time. Let's see here where they play another clip, and then I'll let them rip into him one more time, and then we'll go on from there, because there's another Lego video here that I want to play. There's a clip here from Greg Kelly. There's a clip here from Benny Johnson. And then obviously I want to get into the letter that Zelenskyy sent Putin, Putin's response to that. And obviously the, I believe it's $8 or $9 billion that Hungary has finally signed off on releasing to the Ukrainians in an arms package as well. So on top of the the U.S. House obviously passing their aid package as well. So what do you say? I'll let Janet Pomps rip into them one more time, and then we'll dive on. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you could. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot if you do. Subscribe to the channel. That would be even fucking more fantastic if you could do that. It helps even more. And again, sharing, all sharing the show out on your social medias would be a great advantage, would be a great benefit and a help as well. So all right, just a couple more minutes of them.
Hands are now as swollen as the cankles. The makeup on the hands is even heavier than it ever was before. And okay, same press conference. Where are the headlines? Trump cannot stop thirst trapping over young men. Play the clip.
Quarterback Jackson is the quarterback for the Giants. He's a big, strong guy. And I said, how do you think you do in women's sports, Jackson? He said, pretty good, sir. He didn't know I was joking. He was not worried. So let me put it that way. He would have been the greatest athlete in the history of women's sports. You got to see the size of this guy. Like a male model, and he's going to be a great quarterback.
Like a male model.
A male model. I mean, it's Pride Month, so let's not try to disrespect Donald Trump too much. It is Pride Month, right? So, I mean, Hal's got the perfect song for him. I know that, but, just adding up all the things that we've heard over Donald Trump's, just his political career, I mean, it paints a clear picture that I'm not sure Republicans would be too happy about. I'm just saying. I'm going out on a limb. But all right, let's see if we can dive into this latest Lego video here. This one is, I think, this is about the 250 concert, making fun of Donald Trump about the 250 concert and everybody basically giving him the middle finger and telling him to piss off as far as coming to perform. So I thought we'd get a quick kick out of this one, making fun of Donald Trump, thinking that he's the Elvis. What did he say? He's more popular than Elvis, something like that. Something, but the Legos are all over it as usual. This is from Pros in Plastic channel that's been putting a couple of these out. So let's see what trouble we can get at by playing these.
Yo, Donnie. 4 days, remember that? 4 days to victory. 4 months later, you're still explaining. From Tehran, we got a question. How you lose the crowd at your own birthday party? You said America first, you said everything's great. Now the singers see the flyer and they suddenly can't make the date. One by one they disappeared, backstage doors swinging wide, looking at the guest list and politely stepping aside. Young MC said, hold up. Martina said, not me. Commodores hit the exit sign, now you're talking the empty seats. You call them third-rate artists, said you're the biggest attraction. But if you're such a giant, why are they running from the action? Even your own artists are ditching you.
Even your own artists are ditching you. I just love that that's the chorus. You know what I mean? I understand some of these are better than others, and but the fact that it's just bringing up the news headline that everybody's telling Trump to screw himself basically is the chorus of this. I don't know. I think it makes it great.
The crowd keeps getting thinner too. You promised fireworks. You promised victory views. Now you're planning the headline because nobody else will. Back in Tehran, we watching eating popcorn by the bowl. You said I ran with 4 quickly, now it's month number 4. Every week a new prediction, every week another spin. Every week Marco says the deal is close again. Tomorrow, next week, soon, almost. The calendar keeps laughing at promises and posts. Meanwhile, ships are waiting, markets feeling the strain. The world keeps paying interest on a war nobody can explain. Even your own artists are ditching you.
Wow, so they're actually using buying Legos as the representation for how much the prices have gone up. I'm guessing that's what's going on. The Legos buying Legos. Well, I guess it's not the Legos buying Legos. I guess it's just the Legos buying groceries at that point. But they're, obviously the price tag showing you the price increases, but
On a war nobody can explain. Even your own artists are ditching you.
Even your own artists are ditching you.
The headlines keep slipping through. The deal is always coming. The ending never arrives.
Super $9.89 plus $9.49, regular $8.99. Must be in California.
You keep selling victory speeches. Reality tells a different lie. And what about that? Reflecting pool, $13.1 million for paint. Not a bridge, not a school, not a hospital wing. Paint that better be magical paint. That better sing, that better dance, that better cook.
And I love that the company, I mean, side note, obviously, but talking about the reflecting pool, I mean, the fact that the company was chosen because I believe they worked on some of Donald Trump's swimming pools at one of his fucking properties or something like that, have no background in like historic preservation, monument preservation, anything like that. It's just, just right in line what you'd know with, who he'd choose, why he'd choose them, the incompetence of the people, and how they're just not qualified for the work they're doing at that point in time. But, just not a surprise.
Because for $13 million, people expected something new. You gonna swim in it, Donnie? Is that why it's shining blue? Because Americans keep wondering what exactly that money bought you. Everybody's asking questions, nobody's hearing replies. One controversy follows another, one distraction follows the next. And every time the pressure rises, something else fills the screen. Another rally, another speech, another promise, another dream. The artist walked away, the war keeps dragging. The prices keep climbing, the explanations keep changing. And somewhere in America...
I know, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. But, the Lego bangers, they keep coming hot and heavy. Not that they don't have, like, a lot to touch on, right? Not that they don't have a lot to talk about and make fun of. They could probably be doing these for eternity at this point. I think they found their niche and just, they're going to keep rolling with it. But, all right, what do you say we dive on to our next topic of conversation, which I believe... Should we do Benny or Greg? We'll do Greg. This is just a really quick one. So this is, again, the world's dumbest man, Greg Kelly. I don't know what he's explaining to us. I think he's explaining how Crazy Libs wants to break the spirits of MAGA. Like, I don't know why he's surprised about that. That's clearly been the intent of, we'll just, generally say people on the left is to absolutely break the spirit of the MAGA base. The MAGA cult. Make sure once you break that spirit, and then you can inform them as to how badly they've been lied to, and then you can feed them the actual reality of the situation. First, though, is breaking down that spirit that has been built up upon just lies and bullshit for years upon years at this point. So, yeah, I do agree that is the absolute goal, should be the absolute goal of all leftists. But here's Greg Kelly, I guess, going to whine, cry, and complain about that being the case. I'm not sure. When you've done this much damage and degradation to society, you would probably expect people to be pissed off and wanting to break you down at some point. But again, Greg Kelly not smart enough to recognize that. So let's see what he's got to say here. This is just real quick, and then we'll go into the next one is Benny Johnson. I think he's reveling in the fact that Donald Trump is a misogynistic prick. I think that's what Benny Johnson's doing in the next video, so we'll call him out for that. So stick with me, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. My name's Brian. This is Blunt Politics, and like I said, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here. This is Greg Kelly, the dumbest man, not only on Newsmax, but on all of television. So let's take it away, Greg.
I guess part of how we as House Democrats view this moment, either MAGA extremists are going to break the country or we're going to break them. And our goal is to break them. We will.
Well, I mean, I would go out and easily say that the MAGA cult has already broken this country. I don't think that's something that's even a possible discussion to even debate at this moment in time. So I think that's kind of an irrelevant point because that's already been done. The next point of breaking the will, breaking the spirit, I do agree with. I wish you'd talk less with your hands and more with your mouth. But, first thing, irrelevant, stupid, already happened. I think we can already agree that Donald Trump, the MAGA base, and the Republican coalition on a broader basis has broken this fucking country, whether it's, the way that people vote, the way that people treat each other, obviously money in politics. I mean, you name it, we could go down the list of the way that they've fucking absolutely ruined it. But, the second part of that, I do agree with.
Beat them. We have to beat them electorally, and then we have to break their spirit.
Break their spirit. What a horrible thing to say.
No, correct thing to say. Absolute correct thing to say, and exactly what, like the sentiment that we need. Do away with all the other bullshit. Do away with all the other bullshit, and then just hammer down on that. Breaking souls, breaking spirits, breaking the cult. I'm all for that one. I'm cool with that.
Although it rings true, doesn't it? Right? This is what the 4 years of Biden was all about. The harassment, the lawfare, the January 6th was the worst thing that ever happened. Now,
I'm pretty sure. I don't think they said it was the worst thing that ever happened. I just think people accurately pointed out how bad it was. Right? How unprecedented it was, how blatantly obvious who instigated that, right? How, people were hurt, injured, killed as a result of that, right? I don't think that people are like, oh, that's the worst thing that ever happened. They correctly pointed out how fucking bad and egregious it was. But again, I think we could go back in history and find some things that obviously, we could call as worst thing. But in this country, as for that specific type of event, I think people did a pretty good job at recognizing the severity of it, we'll just say. Greg Kelly, again, trying to whitewash, much like the rest of these Republicans now, not only the 2020 election, but obviously trying to rewrite history as far as January 6th and how the people have been wronged and weaponized, and there was grandmothers in jail for 2 years. Well, that grandmother probably brought a weapon or beat a cop or, again, trespassed or went to a riot that she shouldn't have been at. So I don't know what to say about that grandmother. I hope she has fun fucking knitting sweaters for a couple years. Fuck her. I don't know what else to tell you. But again, they're trying to rewrite all of this history. They're trying to make it, because they're in power now, they have a lot of the control over the government. So they think now is the time. If they're going to rewrite that history and try to get people to believe that it was something other than what it was, now is their moment to shine, right? But, obviously that's why we're here, to remind everybody of what actually took place and to call out these fucking morons. Not that they're good at it, but,
They're in trouble, big time. All of their games have not worked. A statistical tie at this point? They did try to demoralize us, and they tried to lock up President Trump. It did not work. It only...
Yeah, let me show you the mug shots of the president. That'll fucking really change the sentiment. You know what? Let's show him the mug shots. Let's show him every time he had to go in and outside of court because he's a fucking crook, a con man, and a sexual assaulter. But here it is, guys. Evidence as to the weaponization and not actual evidence because of he's a 34-time felon and all of, again, the other crimes, he should be in prison for. You know what I mean? Again, these idiots think they're like flexing. They think all of these things are flexes. He's not sleeping. He never sleeps. Look at all of his mugshots. Like, that's not, again, the flex. People around the world are going to be like, oh, he's got a ton of fucking mugshots? Oh, definitely. Definitely. I trust him now. That's definitely who I trust.
Fired us up. And if you're like me, historically, midterms, elections, that's for the political people. I'm not that political. Nope. We all got to be all in.
You're a political commentator. Please don't think you don't honestly see yourself as a journalist, right? Like I wouldn't even go as far as to say like a hack news anchor at this point. Like you are quite clearly a political commentator, a propagandist political commentator, a very biased, partisan political commentator at that. So this is like the Tim Pool. I'm just sitting on the fence here in the middle. I'm not right. I'm not left. I just kind of calls it as I see it, folks. But everything that I say is right wing. Everything that I say is in benefit for, in obfuscation for, or in defense of Donald Trump and the Republican Party. But I'm just sitting here on the fucking fence like, what do you think you're fooling, right? You think we haven't been watching you for, myself, 10 years plus at this point doing this? Like it's easy for me to spot the bullshit at this point. So he goes on here to play FDR at his inauguration. I forget what he's talking about. We'll call it out, I'm sure.
And the only thing, what did that FDR say? He's the one Democrat we liked on that one day. Well, and a couple of other things too we did. Well, not everything. Oh boy, he was so weak when it came to, all right, this was good.
I'm sorry, are you shitting on FDR at this moment in time? Did this just go from, January 6th was awesome to let's shit on FDR? Like, I'm sorry. Where did that just go? How did that just take a turn real quick? And again, you're not going to recognize, I don't know, let's say, what was that thing? That like World War II thing. You know what I mean? It's just like that little thing that he did. I don't know. Maybe don't recognize that. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear
is fear itself.
Fear itself.
Thank you, FDR. It's true. It actually applies.
FDR would have smashed Greg Kelly in the head with one of his fucking legs. He would have beat him with one of his crutches. He wouldn't have liked him at all. Jesus Christ, get out of here. But all right, that's enough of Greg Kelly. He goes on there for that just felt like an eternity. That just really felt like an eternity. We just watched him for 1 minute and 44 seconds, and it felt like an eternity. But we won't subject you to too much more of him. But unfortunately, the next guy is not going to be too much better. But this is, again, Benny Johnson reveling in the fact that Donald Trump is just a misogynistic prick, and we don't have to watch too much of this either. For some reason, Benny Johnson found it necessary because of Donald Trump's statements to Caitlin Collins recently in the Oval Office to go back and find all of the other times he was a dickhead to Caitlin Collins, and then to just sit there and giggle at it like the little schoolgirl that he is. But yeah, this is the video that he decided to put together doing all of that. And again, I would like to say, like, I don't know if it's like was taught at Tucker Carlson's Daily Caller that that Caitlin Collins worked at, to be like subservient, to be like obedient when people are shitting on you. I don't know if it was taught in Alabama, where Caitlin Collins is from. I'm probably gonna go out there on a limb and say it wasn't, to just sit there and take the shit, to just let a guy degrade you, to just let him demean you in front of people. But how about Caitlin Collins gets a backbone? Right? How about the rest of the reporters too get a backbone that decide to get attacked, that Donald Trump decides to attack and call names and tell them to shut up and question their upbringing and their political affiliations and shit? How about you tell them to fucking pound sand? I don't know. Maybe it might lose your spot within the White House, but I guarantee it buys you a lot more fucking respect and credit from the wider American people, and guarantee from the fucking wider world that see the clip of you doing it. Like, I don't know, just at some point, either call them out a lot more, push back on the bullshit, or fucking at the very least, stand up for your goddamn selves. And that goes for all of them. Obviously, more prominently, featured in these videos and gone after is Caitlin Collins for Donald Trump, but all of them. Every single one of them, where he said "quiet piggy," on Air Force One, where he's fucking yelling and telling people to shut up. Stand up for your goddamn selves, right? Is it that important that you have that proximity to power and you get that interview, or is it more? Important to you that you actually fucking, contain some of your self-respect, right? Some of your fucking dignity. I don't know. That'd be more important to me, but who am I at this point? But all right, let's see if we can just a couple minutes of this, calling out this idiot and looking how childish he is to just literally make a video at Donald Trump's misogynistic, piece of shit times that he's had.
Remember that one time when President Trump whipped it out live on CNN? It was a particular...
Jesus Christ. Did you have to put it like that? You sicko. I mean, I know, of course, Benny Johnson put it like that. I mean, does that surprise anybody? Huh? Probably what he's been dying for since Donald Trump came into his life. Oh, I just can't wait for him to pull it out on the stage there. Don't worry, Benny. Unless you were really, really close with a fucking microscope and in a NASA, a NASA telescope, I don't think you'd see it anyway.
Particularly nasty interview with Caitlin Collins. The first and
Caitlin Collins? What the fuck is that? Is that like some sort of act of disrespect from conservatives that I'm not aware of? Kate, like mispronouncing the name Caitlin Collins? I don't know what that means, but maybe he's just an idiot.
Last time that CNN went live with President Trump one-on-one. And this is why
what happened on that day.
You said you weren't say that.
He has testified that, Mr.
He did
President.
not say that.
But you said you weren't very involved that day. You did tell your supporters to come to Washington. You tweeted about it, about
Sure,
that speech that happened on the rally.
Am I allowed to say that?
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out.
I gotta pull it out. Well, let me do it.
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay.
Wait. What? Why you doing cuts? I mean, if he pulled out a piece of paper and it was so great that moment that he pulled out the piece of paper and what he wrote on the piece of paper was so factual and it put Caitlin Collins in her place so badly, why would you cut to the next clip where he's clearly standing up, doesn't have the piece of paper in his hand, and that was already been done? Because he's trying to make it seem like this is like the next thing that happened when clearly there's not. Clearly there was a cut there. I'm curious.
Simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Do you remember how Trump got the entire audience on his side, with the audience rolling and laughing and...
Okay, so he thinks because Donald Trump managed to get the audience on his side, right? Like you see his little fucking schoolgirl giggle, little cackle that he has because he called Caitlin a nasty woman. Like that's what gets Benny Johnson off, to see his beautiful boyfriend, his beautiful Dale leader there degrading women, apparently is what gets. But listen, remember how he said, he gets the crowd on his side. Well, apparently he thinks that we're stupid, Benny Johnson, and apparently he thinks that we're gonna forget, like I didn't make multiple TikToks TikTok videos on this at the time, calling out CNN. Remember this? CNN draws criticism after controversial town hall with Trump. Why do you think they drew criticism? Well, I'll tell you, because CNN courted controversy and fierce debate after former president headlined its latest primetime town hall. Despite moderator Caitlin Collins' best efforts to fact-check Trump in real time, he used questions from her and an audience of, say it with me, guys, Republican New Hampshire voters to repeat many of his familiar false claims. It was his fucking supporters. You know what I mean? They filled the room with Trump supporters from New Hampshire, and now Benny Johnson's like, he worked them over, right? At first they hated him, and then by the end of it, they loved him. No, they went into that motherfucker loving him. That's why everybody was calling out not only Caitlin Collins, but CNN for the piss poor job that Caitlin Collins did, and the fucking dumb setup of having it in his like partisan with his partisan people to make it seem like he had more support than he actually did. If you had an actual representation of the voting base, right? Or if you had just a few more Democrats or people that were not Republicans in there to begin with. But yeah, goes on here. CNN courted controversy despite moderator Caitlin Collins, like I said, best efforts to fact check Trump. They went on to say that the Republican New Hampshire voter repeated many of his false claims. Some of their exchanges, like this one about the 2024 election results, revealed Trump's willingness to undermine the nation's election integrity. And then they go on basically to give an accounting of what was said there. But this is from Washington Week with The Atlantic. From when that went out. This is from May 12th, 2023. So I remember this immediately when Benny Johnson said this. I was like, well, this guy's a fucking idiot. He thinks we don't remember that it was an entire Republican audience at this. But he goes on.
Howling and jeering at the CNN. Trust me, these weren't MAGA. They didn't try and get.
Yes, they fucking were, you dickhead. That is exact. Oh my fucking God. Unfucking believable. So he's making it seem like it was a CNN audience. That's what he wants to portray this as. He wants you to believe like CNN, because it's a CNN program, because it was a CNN town hall, that it must be all blue-haired, raging, fucking demonic liberals and progressives and all these people that somehow just were like bewildered and captivized by Donald Trump's brilliance. And at the end of it, they were just cheering for him all over the place. No. No. We remember, I was doing politics when this took place too. Okay. So we did the reporting. We looked at what took place. We looked at the people that they got for that. And I remember. So Benny, you're not getting it by on me.
The MAGA audience, it was Trump winning over the left-wing audience.
The left-wing audience. Fuck me. Fucking me. You son of a bitch. The left-wing audience, an audience of Republican New Hampshire voters. He thinks you're stupid. He thinks you're fucking stupid. He really does. Or he thinks I'm stupid, that I won't put it on the show and I won't remind people. An audience of Republican New Hampshire voters. I don't know how else can you say that? So now he's tried to say first they weren't MAGA, and now all of a sudden they were liberal. It's a liberal audience that he won over. You dumb son of a bitch. Unreal.
There at the CNN town hall, and it's something, of course, that has been a flavor of Trump in this White House. CNN's Caitlin Collins is constantly.
What is Caitlin Collins? I don't know, and it's frustrating. I don't know what he means by that. It is so fucking annoying. Is he just an idiot and can't say Caitlin? Or is that supposed to be like some inside joke with these dickheads?
Question?
On terms
No, not you.
No. Nasty woman. Donald Trump is back. Bodying.
It's quite literally a video of all the times he's been a dickhead to Caitlin Collins. That's literally what this video is. Just how many times can I pull up misogynistic clips of Donald Trump being a complete asshole, specifically to Caitlin Collins, so it can make me laugh and I can giggle like a schoolgirl. That's what this is.
Caitlin Collins at the White House, and a remarkable clip that surfaced something very unique about Caitlin Collins. Something that will lead to a personal story, because I used to work with her. I know.
Oh, she wouldn't fuck you. Okay, I got it. All right, that makes sense. I got you. Okay, this must have been when Benny was still thinking he was attracted to women, right? But apparently, at some point in time, I'm gonna say Caitlin Collins turned him down, right? He was probably fighting for his life. He was probably in this like midlife crisis type of thing. You know what I mean? Probably took his shot at Caitlyn with Caitlyn, and Caitlyn said, fucking pound sand, Benny. Okay, not in a fucking million years. Not if you were the last guy on earth would I ever do that. So this is where that animosity comes from between Benny Johnson and Caitlyn Collins. I don't know where the Caitlyn Collins, maybe that's again an inside joke between them if they work together. But you know, I'm just saying it seems like that's kind of a logical answer, logical reason as to the animosity that he's showing right now and why he's getting like his rocks off on Donald Trump just being an asshole to her.
Many stories about Caitlyn Collins from Washington, D.C. that
Hey, guess what, Benny? Hell of a lot of fucking stories from Benny Johnson in Washington, D.C. too. I can assure you that. Mr. Grinder himself, baby. Should we go fucking tit for tat on stories? You can do Caitlyn Collins. We'll do Benny Johnson. Fuck. Pause. That sounds weird. I shouldn't have said it like that. We'll reveal the stories about Benny Johnson just in case I have to edit this later. I don't want that to be what I said. But yeah, you can come up with your stories with Caitlyn Collins. We'll come up with our stories that we've heard about you, and we'll just compare and contrast. How about that? Because there's a bunch out there. I've heard a bunch of good ones too. Juicy fucking stories out there.
Would be very damaging to her illustrious journalistic patina that she now holds at CNN.
Oh, so you're also jealous of her proximity to Donald Trump. I get it. This is multi-layered here. Benny Johnson, multifaceted guy. A lot of things in the closet, mostly skeletons, but lots of things in Benny's closet. One of them being animosity for Caitlyn Collins, I guess success, you could say, right? And obviously proximity to power to Donald Trump. He's just jealous that I guess Caitlyn gets to stare face first into the fucking neck pussy of Donald Trump, and Benny Johnson doesn't get that close. Besides like at I don't know, Trump rallies or at dinners where he's, next to him or something like that. But I think that's what it is. I think he's jealous that he's not close enough to stick his nose right in Donald Trump's fucking neck and just give a big old sniff. That's probably the problem. I think that's maybe causing a little bit of this animosity as well.
Donald Trump, though, called her out for her work in conservative media, where she used to work with me at Tucker Carlson's publisher in D.C. It's called The Daily Caller. That's where Caitlyn Collins, before her CNN glow up.
I'm going to fucking lose my shit. If he says Caitlyn Collins one more time, I'm going to lose my goddamn shit.
Had her employment writing listicles and clickbait articles about side boob. It's true. They wiped her entire byline off the website. I don't know how that deal went through. So you can't go back and find her archive of articles.
Oh, shut your fucking mouth. Quit your complaining. I can't even deal with that anymore. Screw Benny Johnson. I mean, that's just, again, sounds like he's pissed off at Caitlyn Collins because she seems to have made it a lot further in her career than Benny Johnson ever will. And again, Benny Johnson taking it out on her in this video. But all right, what do you say we dive on to this, since I feel like I sufficiently called that prick out. This is the letter to Vladimir Putin that I wanted to, let me throw this on the screen right here because I want to read this to you guys, and then we'll get into the response from Vladimir Putin. Apparently at the conference he was speaking at, he was questioned about this, gave a short response about it. So if I could bring you that, and then obviously, like I said, I think there was a couple other clips coming from that and some updates from not only the front, but also from Hungary as well. So a few other things we'll get into as well. But I'll throw this on the screen, make this a little bigger. That way you guys can see it a little bit more clearly. How's that? A little better? So, all right. So this is, like I said, open letter to the president of the Russian Federation from the president of Ukraine. This is for June 2026 at 21:20. Open letter to the president. When you came to power in Russia more than 26 years ago, many people in Ukraine viewed you positively. That is how it was. That is how now but that is now in the past. Now the overwhelming majority of Ukrainians view it positively that our long-range drones paid a visit to the opening of your forum in St. Petersburg, covering a distance of more than 1,000 kilometers. As you know very well, that distance is not the limit of our capabilities. I love it. Starting off strong, Zelenskyy. Starting off with like, you know what, just to let you know, I want to remind you that we did just strike St. Petersburg, and that's not the only place that we could strike, right? Just kind of reading between the lines here. For 26 years, your time in power has completely changed the agenda of relations between Ukraine and Russia. From discussions about trade and other civilian matters, our nations have moved to talking almost exclusively about strikes and losses. You have spent nearly a half of your 26 years in power, and I feel like he's reiterating that 26 years to let everybody, just to make everybody aware of how long it's been. So to nearly half of your 26 years in power in Russia, waging war against Ukraine. Whatever you may say about NATO, geopolitics, or the Russian language, this war is your personal choice, a war without a real cause. This is how history will remember it. Those years could have been very different. We often hear that you are comfortable with this war. Of course, not in those cases when it comes to the security of your residence in Valdai or your parade in Moscow. Your own life is valuable to you. But now we can all see that Russians are finally, becoming less comfortable with this reality, with the fact that the war is bringing more and more negative consequences to Russia. They do not like our drones and missiles. They do not like gasoline shortages and constantly rising prices. They do not like constant restrictions. They do not like your intention to launch a second wave of mobilization in order to expand the war in another direction in Ukraine or to use it against other countries neighboring Russia. They do not like the fact that there is no end in sight to your war. Yes, you can still force Russians to exist this way, but your resources are shrinking significantly. You will not have enough money or political capital to keep buying the loyalty of Russians the way you have for the past 26 years. Again, reiterating his time in power. We will do everything we can to ensure the world helps bring this moment closer. As you say yourself, as you yourself like to say, we need to run the numbers. Yesterday, I received a report of the losses of your army on the front in Ukraine during May. Once again, the number exceeded 30,000 Russian soldiers killed and seriously wounded. We have been maintaining that level month after month, and we have video confirmation of every one of your losses. These are not empty claims. We know that 63% of your battlefield losses are killed, while only 37% are wounded. In the 21st century, no army can afford such a ratio, and the share of those killed will continue to grow. And such an unprecedented thing to have a higher percentage of people in your military be killed than wounded is, again, not normal. Not fucking normal at all. It is not as if we in Ukraine are concerned about the fate of Russian soldiers after everything your war has brought to our country. But I do care about Ukrainians. We are losing our people, and every loss is painful to us. Even when the ratio of Ukrainian losses to Russian losses is 1-5 or 1-6, it still matters greatly. It also matters that you regularly postpone every few months your own deadlines for this capturing our regions, especially the Donetsk region, and you will not capture it this year either. But we in Ukraine do not want a permanent war. We know very well that life without war is infinitely better, and we want to achieve that. I am convinced that the majority of Russians would respond positively to this as well, and you know it. Many did not believe that Ukraine would be able to hold out for so long. You did not believe it, and those who advised you did not believe it either. That was a mistake. You did not expect full-scale resistance from Ukraine, and you did not foresee that things would go this far. Yet here we all are in the 5th year of this full-scale war. Do not be afraid to take this path out of this war. This is the main thing that is required of you now. Ukraine has preserved its independence and will preserve it, despite all predictions to the contrary. We have united many around the world to stand with Ukraine against you. We found weapons and the financing we needed. We received support. You received sanctions. And this will continue until there is justice for Ukraine, the justice we seek, and the justice that can be achieved. We will not allow those who are trying to convince you that sanctions against Russia will be significantly eased and that support for Ukraine will be significantly reduced without any meaningful change in your position toward Ukraine to succeed. The example of Orban shows how those who choose to help Russia in its war against us end in disgrace. Ukraine has endured harsh winters. While you tried to destroy our energy system, we held firm, and even in darkness, the resilience of Ukrainians remained intact. We brought the war onto your territory, and you would not have been able to cope with it without North Korea's help. You are the first ruler of Russia to turn to Pyongyang for assistance, and today you are fully dependent on China, also for the first time in Russia's history. You believed Ukrainians would not have the strength to defend themselves, yet today our people are helping our partners in the Middle East and the Gulf build their own defenses. You hoped for eternal unrest in Ukraine. Instead, it was your own military formations that staged a mutiny against you. June 23 will mark another anniversary of that event, and silence will not erase this fact from history. And now it is you whom your officials, businessmen, and propagandists look at with obvious fatigue. The world can't see it. The world has not grown tired of Ukraine as you long hoped it would, but there is growing fatigue with Russia, even among those in the wider world who help you bypass sanctions and keep your economy afloat. You cannot fail to notice it after 26 years in power. Again, reiterating that age is beginning to take its toll, and with time, the fatigue you will only grow. We have seen intelligence reports showing that you are now considering plans to continue the war into 2027 and 2028. We also know that you hope ballistic missiles will achieve for you what everything else has failed to achieve. You want to draw Belarus even deeper into this war, and we are now forced to prepare for that as well. We see that you are trying to orchestrate something with Transnistria. Your propagandists threaten in one way or another every country neighboring Russia. Do you really want to go through all of this? The choice is yours now. Enough of war. Ukraine proposes to end this war. This must be done honestly, with dignity, and with guarantees that the war will not be reignited. We see that the United States is fully focused on its issue of Iran, and it would be wrong to simply wait until the war in Europe returns to the center of its attention. Ukraine proposes ending this war through direct engagement between us and you. I am proposing a meeting. Everyone heard your representatives smiling say that I could supposedly come to Moscow, but after these 26 years, there is nothing for a Ukrainian leader to do in your capital, just as there is nothing for a Russian leader to do in Kyiv. Love it. There are countries that have traditionally hosted leaders to resolve issues of war and peace. Switzerland, Turkey, the countries of the Arab world, and many are able and willing to host such a meeting. It is leaders who resolve the key issues. That has always been the case, and it will always be. I propose to set a clear date for such a meeting. We have heard that you were promised in Alaska the resolution of certain issues concerning Ukraine in Europe. But you can see for yourself that the Ukrainian and European issues are not decided in Anchorage. Other agreed participants could join the bilateral track to be established between us, since the war is taking place in Europe and since Ukraine needs security guarantees, while you also seek security guarantees for yourself. It would be logical to involve those who can genuinely serve as guarantors. We believe Europe should be part of the process, those who truly have the capacity to influence the situation. We also believe that the United States must be part of the process. That is what could help shape a new security architecture for our world, for our part of the world. We've already experienced many agreements with Russia, including Minsk agreements, that ultimately failed. That is why we must first find direct answers between us to the questions that remain, and not hide from difficult issues behind formulas, technically working groups, or endless time lost in shuttle diplomacy. Your war has permanently set Ukraine and Russia apart. The front line today is the line from which diplomacy must begin. Ukraine is ready for a full-scale ceasefire for the duration of the negotiations. That is standard practice, and current developments around Iran only reinforce that point. An attempt to establish real silence is the best way to begin talking to one another. We believe it would not simply be an attempt, but a real ceasefire, if that is what you want. You know that the United States has the capability to monitor a ceasefire along the line where hostilities stop. Ukraine is ready for an all-in-all exchange of prisoners of war, and this could become a prologue to ending the war. And he continues to go on a little bit here. Serious steps must be taken to return civilians and children who are taken away during the war. We must determine what kind of future awaits the generations of Ukrainians and Russians who will come after us. If you do not personally come to a conclusion that it is time to end this war, Ukraine will continue fighting for its existence. We will have those who support us. He goes on to say, but you too will have to fight much harder for your own existence, not Russia's, but your own. And this is not a threat from me or from Ukraine. It is a fact of Russian history that you know well. When Russia grows tired, change comes. We can work toward that fatigue. You can stop your war. Eternal memory to all those whose lives were taken by this war. Glory to Ukraine. Heroyam Slava. But yeah, that is the letter, like I said, from the president of Volodymyr Zelenskyy to Vladimir Putin. And I believe this is a response when he was asked. This is the video associated. I don't believe it's translated, but we do have the transcript right above it. Let me just see here. I don't believe it's. Yeah, so it's not translated. So we'll just kind of read the transcript here. It says, Putin responds to Zelensky's open letter, which we just read, calling for a direct meeting between the two leaders. It says, my translation. Yesterday, my press secretary, this is a translation from Putin. Yesterday, my press secretary, Mr. Peskov, showed me this letter, but we had a working meeting, a working dinner with the president of Uzbekistan. Honestly, I didn't have time to read it. This morning, Peskov slipped the paper to me again. I glanced through it quickly, but still there are a few things I'd point out. First, the author of this letter mentioned my age. Well, what can I say? Of course, everyone should think about age, but it seems to me that plenty of political figures do their jobs at my age, and some even older than I am. The main thing is not age. Age matters, of course, but it is not the main thing. The main thing is whether a person is capable and able to work. Some of my colleagues, older than me, show plenty of energy. Whether they do their jobs well or badly is another matter. That's a political judgment, but they are active. Then I noticed the point the point about how long someone who has held elected office, the 26 years. That's an important question, of course, but you have to go to elections. You have to go to elections, not be afraid of them, and always act within the Constitution. Because holding on to power outside the Constitution is called usurpation of power, which again is why Putin changed his. This is a criminal offense, so there is no need to be afraid. Go to elections. I would advise everyone to do that, especially since Ukraine, they were saying elections would be held soon, and then somehow everyone went quiet. It's not clear why. Probably because, again, you've invaded their territory and make it impossible for the people in that country to cast their votes. So, again, per their own constitution, those have been put on hold because of, again, the war that Putin started. He also goes on to say, well, reliable guarantors never hurt. Of course they don't, but why the U.S. administration and President Trump are being rejected in that role, I don't really understand. They want weapons from the United States, but for some reason they don't want the U.S. administration and President Trump as guarantors. That raises questions. We also saw Donald in front of the whole world educating the author of this letter and pointing out the dress code. You understand, constantly playing Rambo, first blood may be appropriate somewhere, but not everywhere. Not everywhere. As for the agreements overall, I want to thank Donald for this work. It's useful, no doubt, but there's still work to do. We need to continue. So again, I don't think basically people were suspecting that he wouldn't even respond or acknowledge it. He has responded and acknowledged it, but pretty much, threw it aside, right? Peskov gave it to him, but he didn't have time to look at it. And then, Lavrov or whoever he said, put it back in front of him. So he read it a little bit and, here's a couple critiques, but it's really not a big deal. I don't take it seriously type of thing. So seems to be his general reaction to that letter, which a lot of people kind of expected. But let's see here. There was a couple other clips as well. This is Putin to Zelenskyy. One should be afraid. One must go to elections. Again, very, very fucking hypocritical and ironic for Vladimir Putin to be talking about elections. I mean, come on. We all know what takes place over there and how those are rigged to the high heavens as well. Putin mocks Zelenskyy here. Everyone saw how Trump was disciplining Zelenskyy, again, berating him in the Oval Office, which we just talked about with the dress code. This is Putin says that there currently sees no point in meeting with Zelenskyy. Again, further response to his letter. And then it says Ukrainians want to get weapons. We just read that. So there was just a couple points of that I wanted to show you. What's this guy saying about the reflecting pool now? Stretches. Oh, Jesus Christ. The guy never shuts the fuck up. He really doesn't. Putin says sanctions hurt those who impose them. That's ridiculous. Oh, and here he goes again. Excuse me. That's another thing I wanted to show you. He's back to calling it the denazification of Ukraine, apparently.
Мы движемся спокойно, но уверенно к решению этих задач. И нет сомнений, что мы этого добьемся. Так же, как о некоторых других мы будем добиваться уже на переговорном треке, имеется в виду денацификация. Вчера тоже об этом говорили.
So again, I'd have to brush up on my Russian to figure out exactly what he was saying. But per the Clash report, Putin will pursue the quote denazification of Ukraine, which is something that you didn't hear for a long time. You heard when it first came out, right? When he first enacted this war, was a big talking point of theirs, and then that kind of fell right by the wayside. This is a response. Let's see here. I think this may be a response from Zelenskyy to Putin's response, if I'm not mistaken. So this says, unfortunately, the Russian side has once again chosen war. Everyone heard today's response. It was a weak response. He simply does not want to end the war. I think this response disappointed many people around the world. He does not want to change anything and does not want to admit that this war is likely only by him and those who profit from it. They were all smiling broadly today. That means Russia must have less money and pressure on Russia must increase. I thank everyone who helped us. I thank everyone who stands with Ukraine and wants real peace. So again, that is Zelenskyy responding to Putin's response to Zelenskyy's letter. Let's see if there's anything else that we missed here. I don't think so. So, all right, let's jump on to this one as well, because this was some pretty good news I wanted to show everybody. This is a combat veteran news video here, and this is detailing how Ukraine gets massive $8 billion arms shipment from Hungary. So, and again, this is signed off by, what's his name, Peter Magyar over there in Hungary. Probably been sitting there for a while, which, definitely wasn't going to be signed off on by the last leadership. Let's just go out on a limb and say. So just want to continue to play this. Like I said, continued good news for Ukraine, not only with the fundraiser that we're a part of, but obviously because the House passed the Ukraine aid as well, and this on top of it. So let's see if we can learn a little bit more about what might be involved in this arms shipment. And
nothing's more annoying than having a credit card company block your transaction for totally legitimate purchases. Okay, Visa.
No, it was this one. But I hear Putin. Where is he? Good grief. I don't know where he's talking. All right. Oh, there he is. All right, I got him. My apologies. He was talking in one of the Twitter clips that was going on in the background. All right, but yeah, I just want to detail a little bit more about this $8 billion arms package from Hungary, and obviously what that entails, when we're likely to see that put in place. Remember how we were talking about the Kerch Bridge, and it probably would be smart for the Ukrainians to get, if in any chance, the better air defenses, some better and more air defenses in place, because you can expect some retaliation from Vladimir Putin if in fact that does take place. Well, hopefully not only what the House passed, but also what's going on in Hungary can go just to go help that just a little bit. So again, this is from, let's see here, credit where credit is due. I think Combat Veteran News is the channel. Got about 481,000 subscribers. This came out about 6 hours ago. So let's see if we can dive into this.
Bought airline tickets, then I bought a coffee at the airport Starbucks, and now I'm trying to swipe at a Starbucks in Minneapolis. Dude, it's not fake. Just let me get my croissant. Well, it's frustrating when it happens to me, and it's even more frustrating when it happens to Ukraine. But now they have finally unblocked their transactions and stand to make bank thanks to a change in leadership in an EU country. Let's talk about it. So Hungary has at last unblocked $7.7 billion in EU arms payments after dropping its veto block on Ukraine aid. This is thanks to the new Prime Minister of Hungary, Peter Magyar, who reversed Viktor Orban's era block. You might recall Viktor Orban, who described himself as Putin's lapdog. I swear to God, that's real. And this is just the first tranche in $40 billion in backlogged EU aid that can go to Ukraine. And this is in weapons transferred to Ukraine, which is a huge deal because, again, this isn't sending Ukraine stacks of cash. This is sending them weapons. And it unblocks what's called the European Peace Facility, an off-budget EU instrument that compensates member states for the roughly 40% of the value of weapons drawn from their own stockpiles and sent to Kyiv. Because the EFP disbursements require unanimous backing, Hungary alone was able to freeze the mechanism for 2 years. So essentially, this is saying, listen, if you guys donate your old equipment to Ukraine, the EU is going to make sure these countries, the donors, get made at least partially whole. This is a great deal because it enables those countries to then make additional arms purchases, either purchasing new weapons for their own militaries or even better, use that funding to then purchase new weapons, freeing up old weapons to go to Ukraine, or just buying Ukraine the weapons they need expressly. Now,
sounds like much like, we were doing here in the United States, getting rid of the old, weaponry that we had sitting in fucking bunkers and warehouses all over the place. That way we can make room for, greater technology, better technology, more stockpiles, better stockpiles, that sort of thing. Meanwhile, the equipment that we were sending was more than capable enough for the Ukrainians' use on the battlefield. It had already gotten its taxpayer dollars, baby, whether it's through training, exercises, actual battle and combat. Like those things have fucking been paid for multiple times. And again, we're not sending them the best of the best. It is not the platforms that the United States soldiers go out and fly around. It is not the same exact stuff, right? But it does go it does go to help the Ukrainians greatly in their fight against the Russians. So similar aspect here. You guys come and donate and give us your old stockpile, your old stuff that you're not using. We'll use it. We'll use it to fight the Russians, and then we can make you whole. Not only that, but you'll have the funding and you'll have the room, obviously, for the new technology that's coming out and greater resources, better platforms, all of those things.
Now, obviously, this blockade had infuriated Germany and the Netherlands and other EU countries that did want to support Ukraine, which is the overwhelming majority. And the channel kept weapons and ammunition from getting to the Ukrainians. Allied governments literally trying to create their own version to bypass Budapest entirely. Now,
I don't think there's enough pop-ups on this page. I'm going to say I think they could squeeze in another maybe 2 or 3 advertisements on this page.
This is great news for Ukraine and represents a huge remix on what had been a really tough relationship with the EU, in large part because of Viktor Orban's stridently pro-Putinist agenda. This couldn't come, though, at a worse time for Vladimir Putin's Russia. And we're going to talk about just how bad things are looking for Russia in contrast to the optimism we can have for Ukraine. But before we talk about that, I wanted to mention that if you want to do your part to help the Ukrainians achieve victory and in the process get caffeinated, boy, do I have the announcement for you. Strike Gum. This is, of course, veteran-owned, made in the USA, 90 milligrams of caffeine in every piece, a favorite.
Just going to go on here where he goes on to this news story real quick. And then I got one here from the professor as well, detailing a strike in the Sea of Azov. So we'll get into that just after this.
Actually, guys, we don't buy lethal weapon systems. Instead,
what are these things?
So we talked about the fact that right now, Russian sovereign debt is, we'll generously call it, in a bad state, right? So what do I mean? Well, the 10-year government bond yield, which remember, bonds just mean the interest rate on Russian debt because somebody has to loan Russia money. As you can see, this is the 1-year chart, but if you look at the 5-year chart, you can see Russian sovereign debt has had a bad run, literally spiking out of control to 13% at the start of the war. And since 2024, Russian sovereign debt has trended around 15%, sometimes even higher. This is a huge crisis because remember, it is a frightening level of interest when the United States debt load crests 5%. Well, the Russian sovereign debt is 3 times that. And that means that a small Russian budget deficit, which they are currently running to the tune of about 15%, is a massive problem, threatens to become a huge inflationary destruction, just like not paying your credit card for 2 months.
What was the other
25%
comparisons on that list real quick? So US 4.4, UK 4.8, Japan 2.6, Australia 4.9, Germany 3.0, Brazil 14, Russia 14. Jesus Christ. That's up 0.25% in Brazil. Actually went down 0.02% in Russia, but obviously not a substantial change there. But yeah, holy shit, 14. Look at the rest of everybody. I mean, the next closest is what, 8 here in South Africa, 5 in Chile. Next one's 4 in Australia.
Inflationary destruction, just like not paying your credit card for 2 months at a 25% APR means that it can very easily turn a $2,000 trip to Minneapolis. I don't know why we're using Minneapolis. I've never been there. $2,000 trip to Minneapolis. After a year of interest accrual, you're looking at up to.
Yeah, I want to know about the weapons shipment. How about that? Can I get any more information on that? Some of Russia's wealthiest women around the rooms on the Strand Department asked about the billionaires proposed an idea of voluntary corporate contributions to help bankroll the government, the cash injections. I'm probably assuming that we don't know a whole lot besides what has just been reported, I guess, because again, you're probably not going to know what these countries are putting in there as far as their equipment yet. So I'm sure that remains to be seen. I guarantee. Well, I'm guessing that the big news is just the release, the signing off of itself would be the news. So probably not too much else to report as far as that. But obviously good news between this, the House passing the Ukraine funding and aid package in the House here. The bill secured 226 votes, 18 Republicans joining with Democrats, authorizing up to $9 billion for Kyiv, and then obviously add that to the $8 billion. And I believe that was, like he said, part of a much bigger package. This was kind of just the first tranche of it, as he put it. So hopefully that continues and we see more and more funding and platforms being sent to Ukraine to obviously help with not only the offensive fight, but also the defensive capabilities to help protect their cities that obviously Russia is attacking on a nightly basis. But let's dive into this. I might even get you guys out of here a couple minutes early today. Enjoy that sunshine. Who knows, though? Every time I say that, I end up going long. So this is from the professor. He says, Ukraine just made the Sea of Azov unsafe for Russians. And you can see here 5 ships struck in the Sea of Azov. So curious what successes the Ukrainians had. I appreciate
It's Friday, June 5th, 2026. And just when the Russians think that they're safe here or they're safe there, the Ukrainians disabuse them of that notion. Last night or early this morning, we saw 5 ships struck in the Sea of Azov. Now, these aren't warships. These are cargo vessels and other things that thought that they were safe, stealing Ukrainian stuff. And here's what happened. So overnight strikes, let's start with this. A tanker and 2 general cargo ships, Natra and Siron, were struck by drones in the
and you should have
Tag
seen
and
the hold on. You should have seen the Russian propaganda on Twitter. I won't open up another one here, but let me go to this while that's playing, and I'll pull up what's the guy's name? Chase Bose or some bullshit. Like they were trying to say that Ukraine was a threat to the world and all of that. Oh, they're attacking this. Well, again, Russian warships or Russian cargo ships, carrying anything that really Russia could use to help fuel this war, continue this war, is a justifiable military target. So quit your bitching. But I'll let this play. I'll see if I can pull up a couple of those Russian propaganda tweets from Twitter in the background.
Bay, Sea of Azov. Each vessel was hit by 4 drones. The identity of the tanker has not yet been disclosed, but it's more than just those 3. Here's Jane Keefe posted this. Guys thought it was a good idea to smuggle stolen Ukrainian goods through the Sea of Azov, so Ukrainian drones destroyed the ship. And here's, like you can see in the background, just what it looks like. It's pretty well hit. I mean, you can see that. And so I don't know how damaged it is or if it's, but this puts a chilling effect on those that might think that it's going to be a good idea to do that. What started a month ago, says
check this out.
What started a month ago.
Check this shit out. I'm just trying to look up this dickhead, right? And I'm like, well, why can't I see too much of his stuff? Look what it says here. He's blocked me? Why can I see that stuff then? You can view public posts from Che, but you are blocked from engaging with them. You also cannot follow or message them. What an absolute twat bag. What an absolute fucking pussy ass bitch. 283,000 followers. Lives in Russia, if I'm not mistaken. Irish journalist, he calls himself, but he's a fucking loser. An absolute fucking hack. This fat fuck here. This balding, decrepit old fucking loser. He's the one that apparently has blocked me because he doesn't like what I have to say about his Russian propaganda. But there's one of them here where, see if I can scroll back, because apparently I can still view his public post, which is fucking weird to me. If you're going to block me, why let me see his shit? But let's see how far back I have to go. Yeah. Let's see. No, that's more Russian propaganda as far as trying to say that their strike on here you go. Ukraine drone killed 5 Azerbaijani sailors on a ship in the Sea of Azov. You won't see anyone from the EU screaming and demanding justice for Azerbaijan. They are complicit in the murder of those traitors. And then he goes on to talk about how, Ukraine is a naval drone exploded in the Romanian port of Constanta. What the fuck is that? I don't know if I said that right. Their MOD stated that it was allegedly a drone of the type used in war in Ukraine. No information on casualties. Yeah, again, to think that Russia doesn't have the ability to spoof or to block or jam drones in their signal and stuff, and to again spoof it to fly it anywhere that they want in some cases is again just being an absolute fucking Russian propaganda mouthpiece. But this guy apparently doesn't like what I have to say, doesn't want to see my posts, so he's got me blocked. But definitely wants me to continue seeing his bullshit. So sorry, Che, you fucking prick. Hope you see this show. All right, back at it. My apologies. Had to get that one out of my chest.
To go with Ukrainian forces cutting Russia's logistics on the land corridor, then moved to roadway logistics inside Crimea, and then to the area of the Kerch Bridge has now extended out to Russia's seaborne logistics on the Azov Sea. 5 ships in the space of a few hours just this morning. So, and you can see where these things are. Here's Mariupol and the other areas. Okay, so let's look at this. Ukrainian drone strikes hit a tanker and 2 bulk carriers at Taganrog Bay at 0500, leaving 5 people dead, 6 injured, according to information cited by Izvestia, Russian newspaper. The attack targeted the vessels off Krasnodar Krai, causing multiple casualties in the early morning hours. And, here's Mariupol, just for context. Taganrog is just between Rostov and Mariupol. Okay, Ukraine's unmanned systems forces, again, hit these 5 overnight. The vessels were part of logistics used for stealing Ukrainian grain, moving military cargo, transporting fuel. Here are the drone images so that you can see what's actually happening. This isn't made up.
I'm gonna guarantee that's copyrighted music, so I'm not gonna take the risk with his. But you can see it says Ukraine's unmanned systems forces hit 5 vessels overnight on June 5 in Mariupol, Berdyansk, in coastal waters of occupied territory. The targets included dry cargo ships and a tanker operating with painted over names and switched off radars. The vessels were part of logistics used for stealing Ukrainian grain, moving military cargo, and transporting fuel. So again, justifiable by every stretch of the imagination.
I'm gonna buffer through these little bits.
Copyright music. But you can see there the drone going in, drone locating pretty much the captain himself. He might have flown that in the captain's mouth, to be quite clear. Stop playing the music. God damn it.
And there's another.
Stop playing the music.
I'm thinking the Russians are going to have to rethink how they're going to do what they're doing here now. So, okay. Drones also struck an oil depot in occupied Luhansk overnight. They did not strike one yesterday, and they did today, triggering large fire visible for kilometers. Monitoring channels reported the attack is the latest in a series of Ukrainian strikes on Russian fuel and logistics. When I'm already compiling things for my Sunday economics, and it's all about gas being in Crimea. They're struggling already, and it's early in the summer. Okay. Ukraine's strike last week, Russian occupational authorities in Crimea now say that the Zelenskyy railway station is shut down for rail traffic, euphemistically saying that it will now be a technical station, meaning it doesn't work anymore, but somehow we're going to call it something.
This might actually have a little bit more as far as footage is concerned. Let me see if this gives us anything else on these strikes there on the ships.
Ukraine's Unmanned Systems Forces, SBS, struck 5 Russian vessels overnight on June 5 in and around the occupied ports of Mariupol and Berdyansk in southeastern Zaporizhia region, near Azov Sea, according to SBS Commander Robert Brovdy, known by the call sign Madyar.
This is the one.
The targeted vessel,
pretty sure this gets flown right into the captain's mouth.
which included cargo ship
I mean, that's pretty much where the captain is, right there.
and a tanker, were operating in the coastal waters of Russian-occupied southern Ukraine and were allegedly involved in transporting stolen Ukrainian grain, military supplies, and fuel. Some of the ships were reportedly located inside the ports of Mariupol and Berdyansk, while others were sailing near the Azov Sea coastline, including the area around Yalta in the occupied Pryazovia region. Brovdy said Russian operators attempted to conceal the vessels by removing or painting over identifying markings and disabling radar systems in an effort to avoid detection while conducting cargo operations.
I didn't hear Che mention that in any of his posts. I didn't hear him mention that about the ships and how they had painted over names and flying different flags and how they were stealing Ukrainian grain. Didn't quite hear that posted by the Russian propagandist there, but I don't know. I think I flew through everything we had today. I think we flew through everything we had. I think we're a few minutes early, a fair bit early, but anything else? Let me see if there's anything else that I can see if I missed anything while I'm here. You know what I mean? I'll go to who's a good one to check. We'll check this one real quick. Stick with me if you will. Hit that like button. I do appreciate you guys. If not, I'll get you guys out of here. You can enjoy your day, right? Get your fucking weekend started. Get those alcoholic beverages flowing. Whatever you guys are doing. I know Yakov, shout out to Yakov. I think he's out there camping away. Let's go. All right, so let's just see if there's anything I missed here. Oh, apparently he took questions. Oh, let's see here. Apparently he took questions. Put this on the screen real quick. Trump walks away as a reporter asked him when the last time he had discussions with Iran. And I think that's about the only one that I see. Other than that, what's this audio? Breaking: Trump endorses ESPN's NBA coverage MAGA to rally around previous woke network. Question: the NBA Finals game you're going to, the cheapest ticketed price is $8,000. Everyday Americans can't afford these sporting events. You can watch it on TV. It's sort of semi-free to watch on TV. That's the way life goes, says the president when asked why or what he can say to Americans that are struggling every day while people are paying $8,000 to go to a basketball game. It says, I should be a stockbroker. Trump says, no, you fucking shouldn't. God damn. A view of Trump's motorcade rolling up to Air Force One. Don't want to care about that. I think that's pretty much it. So I appreciate you guys. Let's get into thanking some people. That always takes a couple minutes anyway, depending on, how many people were nice enough to send in either a Venmo or a super chat. But you guys are always pretty nice to me. So I appreciate you guys. Another great show today. But again, I'm always biased. So you guys let me know how you think I do. If you think I can do better in areas, if you think I do great in areas, let me know. Very much appreciated for all your contributions and generosity. Let's start it off today. Bry Guy. What's up, my man? How are you? Brian, it's no doubt I'm beginning to like that Fridays over with AI lectures with Al. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much for the 5. Thank you so much for the contributions and obviously the kind words too, my friend. Good seeing you in here. Thank you so much to Nina. Nina sent in from 73 Namaste on YouTube. Great live today and wishing everyone hearing this a beautiful weekend. Well, thank you so much, Nina. Right back at you, and also to everybody else. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you Sunday. So thank you to Jeff. Thank you to Geneva. Thank you to Brian again, Allison. Thank you to Nancy, Yakov, Moms, Peter, Jim, Belinda, everybody over the last couple days that's been nice enough to kick in a buck or two. Keep the old lights on. Let's say we jump over here onto the YouTube side of things. First up today is who? Jeff. What's up, Jeff? Shout out to you, brother. How are you? Red light, green light, open, close. I appreciate it. Thank you for the $5 contribution. Always good seeing you, Jeff. One of my favorite, I don't even know what you'd call it. Profile pictures? Is that a profile picture? I don't know, but I love the picture. The minions are great. But Jeff, as always, very much appreciated. Aaron, how are you? Thank you so much. Remember, for 21 months, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you for being here, your generosity, your kindness, obviously becoming a member here. It is very much appreciated, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a great weekend. Thank you so much to Jenny Faye as well. Member for 20 months. Let's go. B-Day and Lobsterversary. Cheers to both. I appreciate it. Oh, wait, it's your birthday today? Today's your birthday? Get the fuck out of here. Happy birthday to you. I wish I had I used to have a happy birthday sound drop. I don't have it. I'm going to have to get that back just in case. But happy birthday to you, if I'm getting that right, if I'm reading that correctly. But thank you so much for being here on your birthday. We very much appreciate you spending a little time with us. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, fantastic, joyous day doing whatever you choose to do, because that's what you deserve. All right. And you've earned it. You've earned it. So thank you so much, Jenny Faye, for everything. Very much appreciated, and happy birthday. Hope you have a good one. Let's see here. Where was I? Thank you so much to Frank as well for the Counting Crows. Member for 19 months. Counting Crows. Oh, Trump. All right. Trump, I got you. I got it. Yep. I'm with you. I appreciate you, Frank. Almost had me lost on it for a second on that one, but I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down, my friend. But thank you so much, Chaco, as well, for becoming a YouTube member. Salute to you. Really, really good sign to see that more people are signing up for YouTube memberships. I think that's a good way to gauge how the community is growing, and how hopefully the base is growing, and hopefully the subscriber base is growing. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Chaco B. Good to see you here. Thank you so much to Victor. Brian, please live stream the removal of Trump's name off the Kennedy Center. We'll have a party. When are they supposed to do that? Let me see. Hold on. Let me see real quick. Is that even been set, or are you talking about if and when it happens? Like I said, I feel like I know that's a thing people are talking about, but not so much on my radar. Kennedy Center, Trump. Let's see. Kennedy Center tells staff to immediately remove Trump's name from documents. Kennedy Center orders staff to remove Trump's name. Does it say when? Let me see. This one's from CNN. Put this on the screen so you guys can see it as well. Kennedy Center orders the staff from the building by June 12th. June 12th. All right. So they got 7 days, or 6 and change, right? So, yeah, absolutely. I would love to. I'd be honored to see them rip them fucking names down, right? Rip them letters down for show. For show. Absolutely. So if anybody can figure out, if anybody's got the inside scoop, if you got any friends working at the Kennedy Center and you know when that's going to happen, see if you can give me the inside scoop. That way I can be ready to go. I'm sure some of the reporters out there are going to try to get that ahead of time as well, because I'm sure that's going to be, a video, a clip that a lot of people are going to want to see. So keep me posted. Let me know on that one. But absolutely, I will be happy. I will be pleased. I will be honored to be able to watch the removal of that fat fuck's name from the Kennedy Center. So absolutely, Victor, much appreciated. Thank you so much, No Money G. Slightly off topic. I'm all for off topic. Another study finds people who swear frequently have richer vocabulary and boast a higher overall intelligence than those that don't. Fucking A, let the swearing fly, brother. And again, that's what I'm relying on. That's what I'm leaning on every single time. That's my crutch, No Money G. If anybody asks me to, hey, please stop swearing so much, or why do you swear so much? And it's like, well, A, I'm from Boston. It's just kind of, the way we work around here in a lot of cases. Not all cases, I understand. Not everybody's the same. But also this. I'm also going to continue to reiterate this as far as studies that were done. So I appreciate you for bringing that back up, No Money G. And always good to see you in the chat. Thank you so much for the $10 contribution. Oh, Nola, look at you. Thank you so much for the $50. That's amazing, Nola. You are loved, and you guys are as well. I am, again, so fortunate to have this community. So blessed to have the moderators that we have here, and very fortunate that you guys have stuck with me, really, and to continue to build this and all of the good things. I am very, very blessed. So you guys are loved right back, Nola. I want you to know that. So thank you so much for that contribution. Thank you so much, DPD, as well. FYI, people of Maine, please do not be fooled by the lies being spread about Plattner. The woman who is spreading the lies is a Trump of the New York Times, should be sued for libel. They choose to run the lies without any facts. That'll take a whole show. That'll take a whole show. Why'd you have to say that now? Yeah, I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm not. There's just no way. This is at least an hour conversation I could have with you guys of two minds that I'm in a discussion that will inevitably follow in the chat. So probably not the time or place. But I do appreciate your contributions, DPD. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting this show. Again, it's just the end of the show. Probably, again, we could be here for another 2 hours getting into that. But thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you so much for your support as well. So DPD, again, the gifted 5. Let's go. I don't know how you get it to go pink. That's pretty cool. Gifted 5 memberships. Very much appreciated for that, DPD. Obviously, your contributions. Obviously, your gifted memberships. Getting other people involved. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. And like I said, hope you have a wonderful weekend. Obviously, the rest of your day, hopefully, if it's fantastic. And then rounding it out today is Ninang. How are you? Thank you so much. Trump is winning the war on wokeness. Trump is winning the war on wokeness. Trump is winning the war on wokeness. What do we mean by that? What do we mean by that? I don't know if he is winning the war on wokeness, because I don't think wokeness is going away. I mean, I don't know what their definition is to begin with. It's kind of was a stupid talking point. But you know what I mean? I'm not sure he's so much winning. But I'm sure there's some other thing behind that where I'm probably missing the ultimate sentiment of the contribution as well, Niang. So I apologize, but thank you so much for your $5. I really do appreciate everybody taking care of me, contributing to the show. Again, all the mods, the fantastic chat that we have here, the community that we've built. But I'll let you guys go a couple minutes early today. Thank you so much for everything. Make sure you, again, if you have a couple quarters in the couch cushions, you can send them into Venmo. If you want to sign up for a YouTube membership, there's a button just underneath me. You can head over to patreon.com/BostonBrian. You can get great merch just like this. Stop pretending your racism is patriotism at Blunt Politics merch shop, which is at bostonbrian.com. Head over there. There are some new designs on there as well. Ones that I am really passionate about, ones that I think are fantastic, especially for a smaller channel. You can get hats just like this if you want to represent the channel. Ton of stuff on there, so very much appreciated. Thank you so much again for the help and assistance on the fundraiser as well with the Help 99, NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade. So trying to send again another 3.0 NAFO 3.0 truck to the 3rd Operational Battalion. Artillery platoon over there in Ukraine in the Lipsy direction, to be more specific. And again, we have cracked the 5,000 euro goal mark. So 24% of the way there, 24% of the way there. A lot to go, though. So appreciate you guys. Continue to share this out. Again, if you know people that are interested in supporting Ukraine and may have, let's just be frank, deeper pockets than the rest of us, see if we can get this in front of them. That would be fantastic, because I do believe we have the best patches in the game still. That Summer of Drones one, I think, with the Boston Terrier, with the drinking a beer, cheers into Ukraine, with the Boston skyline in the background, with the Red Sox hat. Obviously, if you're a James Bond fan, you're going to love the Skyfall one with the, the Shahhead seeking drone. So Appreciate you guys. I'll let you go. Make sure you stay loud, proud, and aggressive. Get the hell out of your seat. Get into the street. And again, we are not pissed off enough in this country. So again, I'll see you guys Sunday in case, unless something crazy happens, some like ridiculously important breaking news happens, and I'll be sure to pop on and give it to you. All right. Thank you guys. Make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing. Make sure you're seeking out the shorts and videos that I put out. I've been trying to do a lot of shorts. That's been helping with the subscribers. So if you could head over to, the different platforms, whether it's Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, all of those things, and you can share obviously YouTube here on YouTube, and share out the shorts and like the shorts, leave a comment on all the shorts. That would be really, really helpful as well. So big salute to you guys. I'll see you Sunday. Very much appreciated. I'm Boston Bryant. This is Blunt Politics, and I will see you guys later on in the weekend. Have a good one. Make sure you stay safe though. All right, we need you around. We need you around. I'll see if on Sunday we can get into giving my 2 cents on Graham Plattner. Like I said, I'm of two minds. I see it a lot of different ways, and just something I couldn't explain in 2 seconds. So I'd like to give it its due diligence. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not, DPD. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Nope. Like I said, it was just the end of the show. It's a nuanced conversation, at least in my point of view. So no worries. No worries whatsoever. We love you. We appreciate you. To each their own. And believe me, like I said, I understand the need, and I understand the state. I very much appreciate
you. Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
A thought, grow a sack, fill it with some balls. Somebody said, is that a Trump statement or is that real? We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. Nothing bad can happen, it can only good happen. Do we love miners? I love miners. The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан.
It's an incredible
Мій
thing.
позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Yesterday is a hard word for me.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis. I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
Fucking Nazis.
Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch.
He says rectum damn near killed him. Taking it back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Obama.
I am the chosen one. And Gavin Newsom is going to sign those papers. And if he doesn't sign those papers, we won't give him money to put out all his fires. And if we don't give him the money to put out his fires.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. Little hands. Refer to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me, he's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2".
Ah, go fuck yourself.
Cacophony, a crescendo, a finale, a coup de grace.
The big, fat, sloppy United States.